Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. It's Anise, Hadley, and Bella, and today we're going to be doing a mukbang. And a mukbang is where we kind of just sit around, eat food, and talk about life, and Bella and I have cute cookies.
And since we've been talking about North American literature and English, we decided that we're going to talk about that today. Oh no!
I read Emily Warren's essay called Anne Bradstreet's My Dear Loving Husband, and she kind of just talks about two Puritan women, Anne Hutchinson and Anne Bradstreet, and she kind of differentiates between the two's different approaches to challenging Puritan beliefs, which are like historically super conservative and super sexist in their view towards women.
Dang.
And so she kind of Warren kind of talks about that Hutchinson faced discriminatory sexism, and she had a really high intellect, and because of this she was banished because of her beliefs.
Wow.
She would teach religious seminars in her house and stuff like that, and that was super bad because she's a woman and she's not a man. So she was put on trial and stuff like that, and she ended up being banished. And then, on the other hand, Anne Bradstreet also took a stand against this, but she kind of did this in the form of a love poem to her husband. So she kind of disguised her views in a way that was accepted by the Puritans. So she kind of got off the hook by that. But we can kind of relate this to the Handmaid's Tale because we can kind of conclude that the male characters in history relate to the male characters in A Handmaid's Tale, and they're known as a static character. They have these really negative and stupid beliefs of women. John Winthrop thought that a woman committed suicide because she read too much. In A Handmaid's Tale, they kind of think that if a woman reads too much or she becomes too educated, then she's not going to be able to bear children, or she won't bear children, and that's bad. And then kind of the theme relate Anne Bradstreet to her protagonist, Alvarado, because they both kind of rebel in a way against beliefs using love. Anne Bradstreet rebels by talking about her love for her husband, and Alvarado rebels because she talks about Nick in her own quiet way in society. And in both works, both the essay and The Handmaid's Tale are ironic in the sense that even though women are not treated equally, but they're valued just as much as men, because they're expected to care for the next generation, which is the most important job you can do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very insightful.
Right? Yeah.
I agree with all of that.
Yeah. I think there's a common theme where in all of the poems that we read and the short stories like Daddy and The Handmaid's Tale, they all have a theme of women who are oppressed by society that they live in, whether it be futuristic or modern day society.
I agree.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to be talking about the poems and short stories that we did in class. I thought they were very interesting, and you can really connect them to The Handmaid's Tale. So the first one is Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou, and the theme that I really found in this was society defines beauty, and I think our whole class kind of agreed on that. The poem, Angelou, she portrays her sense of beautiful as inner beauty and confidence, and that's kind of why I feel like the women and the men that she mentions in the poem were so confused as to why they were in love with her or attracted to her, was because it's invisible to the naked eye. She believes every physical attribute that she mentions, I kind of feel it's they're beautiful because they're hers and hers only, and that's what builds her confidence.
I also think that in The Handmaid's Tale, Serena gets very jealous of Offred because obviously her husband, the commander, has a thing for Offred, in the ceremonies and stuff like that. He wants more of a connection.
Yeah.
And so and then Serena's confused as to why he has feelings for Offred. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the same way in A Phenomenal Woman, she doesn't understand she's trying to tell everyone why people have men love her so much. Mm-hmm. But I feel Serena doesn't understand why the commander has feelings for Offred, because she's seen as one of the top women in society, and Offred's one of the lowest, so she can't relate the two and understand how a woman low as Offred can be fitting for the commander.
So yeah, in Phenomenal Woman, I believe like the point of view that Angela has is inner beauty and confidence is what makes you beautiful, and I agree with what you said a lot, Anise. So the next thing I'm going to discuss is Girl by Jamaica Kincaid. It's a mother describing a woman's roles, a wife's roles. And the daughter kind of protests her like maybe once or twice through the short story, and I kind of feel like that symbolizes like modern day society kind of protesting how America was back in the day, where women were expected to stay in the home and just have submissive roles. And I feel like that connects to The Handmaid's Tale. Society determined women's roles as being wives, aunts, handmaids, and there was nothing else, or they would just be labeled as unwomen. So I feel like that's the central conflict in Girl and also in The Handmaid's Tale, is how society determines women's roles.
Yeah, and I think that like the way that the girl, like the daughter is expected to behave is like the way the handmaids are expected to behave.
Yeah.
And like overall it's just like super oppressive.
Oh yeah, for sure. So the final poem that I want to discuss with y'all is Daddy by Sylvia Plath. And there's a lot of motifs throughout the entire poem, including Nazi, Germans, and death. So like she calls her father like a Nazi and alludes to Germans and the evil regime of Hitler, because I feel like she feels like very domineering, very oppressive to her, and it's just that's not what she wanted in a father. And death also being a prominent motif in the poem. She wishes she was the one to kill him because of how he raised her. She attempted to even kill herself to get back at him, and I feel like that's very powerful.
I think in Daddy, like she uses like Nazi a lot, and I feel like in The Handmaid's Tale, the author uses neologisms to like provide a new meaning to like their role. And I felt like Sylvia Plath gave like her father the title Nazi because she was trying to relate, like she was trying to give a new meaning to her father, because he was acting like a Nazi to her, and she was being oppressed because of that.
Yeah. Deep.
In The Handmaid's Tale, which was the major work that we read, the theme that I found in the book was love conquers all. Because in The Handmaid's Tale, the reader follows the journey of Offred, who lives in a modern-day dystopia. And Offred battles with the constant flashbacks of her previous life, where she was free and alive, and women were not oppressed by men. In this futuristic dystopian society, women are harshly mistreated and are used to just produce children, since the birth rate has declined rapidly. Women have no rights and are controlled by a male-dominated society. And during this time of injustice, Offred relies on love to conquer all, pretty much. Her constant love for her daughter, her husband, and Nick remind her to live and not give up for the sake of... Offred finds herself during these strained times and remains hopeful amidst her saddening position in this society. Love is a constant battle to be fought, but has a worthwhile cause, and she gains love through her freedom in a claustrophobic society.
Very good.
Yep.